Hey, what's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be buying a trailer off Facebook Marketplace for about $1,000, and we're going to try to upgrade it and make it a trailer that you would probably buy for $45,000 to $5,000. So we're going to try to do this on a budget. We have maybe about $1,500 to spend, so that'll be a total of $2,500 when we're done, and we want to have it all decked out. This is a basic trailer, not too many frills. It's roughly about 17 feet. It has dual 3,500 pound axles, and it needs some work. So we're going to try to load up this truck and see how much damage it does, if it'll be able to carry it or not. This is just kind of a test run to see what it does, first. So this Silverado that we're loading up on here is probably going to be the most weight that this trailer would ever see, but we figured we may as well load it up, see what it does, see how it handles it. And as you can see here, there is some chocks on the trailer that are bolted on because the original owner stated he only moved S10s with this trailer, so they're a little bit far back for this big of a truck and this long of a wheelbase. This trailer is just wide enough to fit his truck on there with his running boards. We probably have maybe a half an inch on each side or so, but it does fit on there width-wise. It's just too far back. We have to move the truck forward more, so I'm going to have to take those blocks off and see how it fits now. But I think it'll fit fine. Also, the tires are a little weird, so what I'm going to do first is swap out the tires, put some new radials on there, new trailer tires, and then we're going to give it another shot. These tires are radial trailer tires. 205 75 15. I believe they're C range. Bought them for $95 a piece. So what I didn't show is changing out this jack and putting that foot on there, but ours was pretty beat up, to say the least. There's no handle. This thing's so smooth. Sticker's coming on. It's a 5,000 pounder. Real easy to put in. So after changing the tires and removing those stop blocks, you can see the truck pulled all the way up, fits perfect, balance is good. Honestly, my truck was maybe about a half an inch lower with the weight of his truck on there with the trailer, so I want to say we're pretty good. So the original trailer did have brakes, but somebody had disconnected them, and there was only brakes on one axle. So we decided that we're going to put brakes on all four tires, and we're going to upgrade them and just replace the entire brake assembly. So these are a set of hubs and brake pads that I got from Amazon. They came with wheel bearings, everything. These are complete. The only thing that they didn't come with, they even came with lug nuts. The only thing they didn't come with was the bolts to actually bolt them onto the axle. And believe it or not, I couldn't get the bolt even at Lowe's or anything like that. I had to special order them. They're some 14 millimeters or something like that. I forget. But anyway, here's the first one installed on the front axle, or actually the back axle. And as you can see, we're putting the next ones on. There's them bolts. I had to use one set from all of them, split them up to get them on there for the first day. Now we're getting those bearings packed. This is something you should do every year or two on your trailers if you're using them a lot.
See, it starts to come through.
Push it through the rollers. You gotta wait till it goes all the way to the top though, right, when you're pushing it?
Well, it's to the top.
Oh, I see it up there. Okay, I was looking right here on the roller, not all the way at the very top. It's been so many years since I did this part. Everything I've bought lately has been more or less new, so I haven't had to do shit. I think all the other trailers, you did them all.
Yeah.
Honestly, every one of them.
I think that should be about it, huh?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Are you put grease on the spindle itself, or?
Yeah. A little grease here. The race is already in there. So now you put a little. You're gonna have to bang the seal on there.
Oh, okay. So it's like a rear main seal on a transmission. I'd probably use a piece of wood. I'll just try to tap it with this block.
There you go.
Looks like it's going straight. There it goes. I just heard me. What's that? That's it. It's nice having everything new. You want me to put it on?
Yeah, just be careful putting it on.
Do you put grease on the spindle?
Yeah, you can grease it up a little bit. I can get it. Here, let me get it, because my hands are dirty.
All right.
Keep your hands clean. There you go.
The little brake pad is in the front on these. Actually, I don't know if that's noticeable. Look how little that brake pad is.
Yeah.
That's all the way home, right? Okay. Where's the?
That's the old one.
I don't have a castle nut and a washer. You have to reuse this piece.
You're kidding.
No.
You've got to be.
No. And the
Cotter pin?
cotter pin even doesn't come with one. Comes with lug nuts. Doesn't come with the rear 4 nuts.
That's good enough for now.
And I like to set the brakes before we fuck with it.
Oh, that's the real one. I have to find that. You got a cotter pin? Oh, perfect.
Harbor Freight Special.
It works.
The biggest one, or is that one the bigger?
This might fit. It's right there.
How do you know how you're adjusting the drag on it?
Oh, it's tight and it still turns freely.
Oh.
Where's the hole? I know there's a hole in it. There it is.
Too tight.
Yeah, but I think that's way too loose.
Does it pull in and out?
I'm gonna go with that.
Watch it.
Okie doke.
You gonna bend the pins over or no?
That's your job, buddy. I did all the hard work.
I can do that part. So there you go, new brakes on there. It's pretty awesome. And this one came in bent.
That's your department now. I get to sit and watch.
All right.
So,
This thing clockwise or counterclockwise?
that one was right-hand thread. So
That's essentially all you're doing is grabbing these little things.
turning that. That's all I'm doing.
Keep popping that.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell there's a tire on it. Feels a little tight though, right?
Come here, roll it. Come on. Did I roll it?
Yeah.
Okay. Leave it like that? Because it is rubbing, so.
Yeah, I think it'll be alright.
Would you
Wow,
say?
that looks sloppy.
Yeah, well, look at it.
So I got the new kit, I got the shackles, I got the bolts, I got the bushings, I got nuts for it. So we're gonna replace all that and make it look like new again. At least act like new.
Oh, you got the right one. It is a 19.
Amazing.
There you go.
Got them unbolted. That one was a bitch. Got the new U-bolts on there. Looking Yui. Yui okay? Yui okay too? Look at that, huh? So before and after. Top one. It's wore out. This is a little side-by-side comparison of the old shackles and the new ones. I mean, you can see how bad the old ones were just wore out. Some of them feel like they on the last leg, because look at this one on the far right. These are the new fenders that I purchased off Amazon. They're a little bit thicker than what was on the trailer, but they're not ones that you can essentially stand on or drive on by any means. What I'm probably going to do is just make them bolt on so we can take them off easily. As you can see, somebody really welded the fenders right to the frame of the trailer, and it's causing a little bit of problems, some rust issues and stuff. So it's going to be kind of a daunting task really to get this old stuff off. Okay, so at this point, I already went and hit up Lowe's and picked up a bunch of different metal blades they had, And I'll tell you one thing, they only really had these Lennox ones and DeWalt ones, and these DeWalt ones are freaking terrible. DeWalt makes pretty decent power tools, but they make sucky drill bits and cutting blades. These Lennox ones were the shit. They cut everything. I probably used one blade per side to actually do all this, where just to cut this little piece, I think it was 4 DeWalt blades. Okay, so I cut it off, but man, that was extremely rough. As you can see, since it wasn't sealed up, it's got rust on the side, so we're gonna just cut it off, and I'm gonna air chisel the rest of this off and start over. What I'm gonna do is I got some wood that's just a tiny bit taller than what would fit underneath there. I set that on top of the tire, so when I put the fender on there, it takes up the gap that I need. Same thing with the here on the front. When I put the fender on there, I'm gonna make it so it can bolt on and off, just in case we want to load it or do something like that. Sorry if it's echoing, my helmet's on and I'm out of breath from working, but I have some metal over here that a buddy of mine, me and a buddy, made this sign for my shop a few years back. I want to say it's been maybe 6 years ago or better. Man, we made it a long time ago. So we were using it 4x8 fit in there, but just a little bit of wind would blow it over because it wasn't wide enough, and we haven't used it in years and years and years. So I think in order to keep his trailer alive, I guess, because it was for the lawnmower, we pull it with that, or the golf cart, that's what it was. I'm gonna take it, break it down, and he's gonna ride on that trailer from now on. I'm gonna take his sign and we're gonna honor him by putting him up on the wall inside where I paint at, so you guys can see it from time to time. So yeah, we've got this up and we'll be able to get some good metal out of it. We just spot welded it years ago, just real quick. Hopefully it's not too bad. It's not really like crazy penetrating weld, so it should come apart pretty easy. So what I did here is I had the original fender liner, I guess, for the round fenders. I cut it up. I had this piece of angle iron. It fit perfectly in there. What I'm gonna do is cut this top straight, put a little piece in there, same thing up there, and then it'll be basically sealed up, so if anything blows a tire or anything like that. Also, I lined up where this bracket's gonna go and be bolted on. And since I want it bolted on, I want to make sure it's at a 90-degree angle so it can come off easy. So I'm going to cut it, put it in the vise, bend it straight, cut it, and then just weld it. So here's what it is after cutting it and bending it. It's now 90. Make it easier to fold up and off. And the reason why this one's smaller is because the trailer's already starting to go downhill at that point on that side. Then I'm going to weld in this bar, that back plate. I'll cut some pieces to fit in there and to fit over here, and it'll stiffen it up. And I'm also going to put one of these little brackets in the center and bolt it up to the trailer as well. So it'll have 1 point, 2 point, 3 points to mount it right to the trailer. So hopefully if anything happens, it'll stay on there. Same thing with this one. And also I bought these trailer lights, little LEDs, they're really thin. And I had some thin angle iron and I bent it over, and I noticed one side stayed 90 and the other side stayed curved. So this is going to be welded onto the trailer to bolt the fender to it. I'm going to have this welded to the top. I'll cap the ends, tail light. This will bolt on and off. Be perfect. Hopefully. So here I'm breaking out the plasma cutter and cutting that angle iron on the inside of the fenders, and the reason being is I just want to make sure that there's enough space for the tire to travel. So I'm only cutting off maybe 3/4 of an inch. I know it's not a lot, but it's better than having no 3/4 of an inch space there for it. So I purchased these D-rings off Amazon. There was already 2 welded to the trailer. They're 18,000 pounds, 5/8, and we're going to put 3 on each side in addition to the ones that are already on there. So it'll make it 4 on each side. So it'll give us multiple tie-down options. Also, as you can see, I got some angle iron here where I'm going to put in some bracing going across. Stiffen it up a little bit. They're in 27 inch, and the reason why I did that is that's what I had for metal to fit the area. So I'll grind them up, weld them up, and then what we're gonna do is put a 2x6 deck in the center so we can get a little bit more use out of it. That's why we're gonna have the fenders unbolt, so forklift could essentially come in and drop a load on it or whatever, or if a car don't fit with the height that we have, just take the fender off, pull in, and you can open the door or whatever. So after getting all the D-rings welded on and the brackets for the fenders welded on, it's looking pretty decent. We keep on getting hit with rain, so it's like we're stopping and going. Some stuff is getting rusty, some stuff isn't. So we're gonna have to come back and wire wheel this and clean it up, you know, obviously before we paint it. But we still got a little bit ways to go. And next we're gonna cut this center piece out and weld in those center brackets. I also broke out the plasma cutter and burned some holes into the trailer for the wiring for the lights that we're gonna be putting on here. Since we kind of had a little bit of surface rust on the trailer, I wanted to put this clean strip on there prior, and it would make the paint essentially stick better. So what we did is we scuffed it up, poured it on there, let it sit overnight, and then we come back in, hit it with some water, rinse it off. As you can see, it did get really chalky with that paint cleaner on there, but what we'll do is we'll come back in and scrub it off with a wire brush and clean it up really good. Maybe even go over it with some lacquer thinner or something like that to get it to stick. As you can see, I kind of scrubbed that white down a little bit. It's a wire brush. Hopefully I didn't mess this up. We'll see. I gotta clean it up. I'm gonna clean it up with lacquer thinner before I epoxy primer everything. That's what it was. Scrubbed it. Not scrubbed. Scrubbed. I think I messed up by scrubbing it, but we'll see. So I welded up this little rig here to put my winch on. Hopefully it holds up. It's on like a 1/4 inch piece of steel that's welded to the frame, so it should be fine. But I would have liked to have cut through and welded right to the frame. But it is what it is. We'll see how it does. It's only going to be pulling cars, so hopefully it won't need it all. All right, so I have the fenders all sanded up. I'm just going to encapsulate whatever little rust is left. There's just a little tiny bit of surface rust here and there. So we're going to put that epoxy on there and it should be fine, according to everybody else. Here we ended up converting the rust. The one spot we didn't, and you can tell the whole trailer was like that spot, the whole thing. So it converted it all, cleaned it up. I gave it like a wipe down, and now we're gonna hit it with the epoxy primer so it won't look like crap anymore. We're gonna do one side of these fenders and then we'll flip them, do the inside. So after putting the metal prep on it, washing it off, scrubbing it down, and then I actually cleaned it with some wax and grease remover. This is what we have before we go to paint. I sanded all that with the DA. Should be good. This is the Valspar epoxy primer. It's a black epoxy, so what I'm gonna do is just spray it with this for now. And then once we get, further along down the road, we'll paint the whole trailer. But at least we'll have it, sealed up. So just after a single coat of that epoxy primer, you can see the trailer looks 100 times better. This epoxy should last forever, and it actually is like a hard plastic essentially, so anything that's behind it should stay there and anything that's on top of it shouldn't be able to get through it. So this should be a good trailer from here on out. But now what we're going to do is let this epoxy dry a little bit. We're going to scuff it, and then we're going to come back and hit it with Raptor bed liner. So the Raptor kit that I purchased was the 6-quart kit, and it did come with all the hardener, the gun. Basically all you have to do is just add air, mix these up, and we're good to go. It does take the whole 6 quarts to paint this trailer. So right before we have it all masked off, we put bags over the brake drums because we don't want to get those coated. We're planning on doing 2 coats, so we lifted up all the D-rings so that we could spray under them and get all the spots that we wouldn't normally get on a finish coat. So I started out originally with 2 quarts of the Raptor, and then the little can and the big can. So after I put the little can of hardener in there, I'm going to start filling up the little can again from the big can, just so I have the equal amount. Also, lacquer thinner, paper towels, a respirator, and some gloves are a good idea to start. So once you got the hardener in there, you're going to want to replace the cap back onto the quart, and then you're going to want to shake it for at least 2 minutes to make sure that that hardener and the Raptor liner really mix well. So once you decide you mixed it well enough, what you're going to do is put the gun in there, make sure your regulator is about 60 psi, and get ready to get painting or spraying. There's a hole. So on the first coat, what I would recommend is getting into all the hard to reach areas, all the nooks and crannies. Also, what I've noticed is when you are closer with the Raptor liner gun, whatever you're spraying actually will become shiny, and if you pull it a little bit further away, you'll get more of a dull matte look. So if you notice as I'm spraying this, some spots you'll see are kind of shiny, some spots are dull. I was looking for all dull look, so you'll see on the second coat I was able to actually get everything all uniform. It was just more or less, you know, starting out, getting all the hard to reach spots. Some stuff got shiny. So after the 2 coats, this is what we have, and I'm actually really happy with it, the way it turned out. Looks really good, feels like it's going to be pretty durable, and as you can see, I put a little bit of reflectors on some of the spots here because the LED lights that I'm going to be installing don't have any reflectors. So I went to a sign shop, had them cut circles, and just put them on there after it got done tacked up, I guess, so they'll stay on there forever. So the fenders also look really good, and I'm actually really happy with everything, and now it's on to the wiring. So I purchased this 7-pin connector off of Amazon along with an easy trailer wiring system. Also, we drilled a hole in the side of this. We put a waterproof toggle switch, and this one is wired into the power, and it is deck lights for the trailer. So when it's plugged in, it has power, and that switch will turn the lights basically on and off. For all the wiring connections, we ended up getting these shrink wraps with a solder joint connection on the inside. So hopefully we never have any issues, and if we do, we can kind of see them. For the center deck, what we did was we used 2x6s. We actually had to strip 2 of them down to a little bit narrower so it all looked even and fit. Then we hit it with some Thompson's water seal and used some lags to bolt it down. For all the hardware that holds the fenders on, we ended up with stainless steel bolts, so we don't have any rust issues in the future. I'll try to put links in the description for everything that we use to put this trailer together. Most of it we got off of Amazon just to make it easy. I still do have to make a set of ramps for it. I'm using the ones that originally came with, and they're kind of not long enough. So what I'm going to do is make a set that fits in this dovetail section and leaves that license plate still exposed. For now, when I need to, I'm just going to take the winch and bolt it on there. I still have the winch bolted to the C channel, and it just bolts on and off. It isn't really that hard to do. I still got to get a battery for it and set it up that way. Probably build a box here on the front so that it all is enclosed. Here's a look at the not long enough ramps, and as you can see, I actually had to put a 2x4 underneath there so the bumper wouldn't drag going up. The car is just tall enough to make it up there until I put the hydraulics on it. Then we'll be able to make it up anywhere. If you want to learn about the car, check out my other videos. I have a complete build on this car from ground up. As always, thanks for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe, and until next time.